These random shootings are taking place, and it's even more unnerving to know that they were animals. Why would somebody do this?
And don't forget, there's also different jurisdictions, so it's hard to see the big picture if you only have one or two cases.
Just these random dogs and horses that were just outside, easy targets.
But as the moon appears in the night sky, a dark and unnerving night is only beginning. Later that same night, things escalate.
David Estrada was a beloved young man with little sisters. He was bright. He was movie star handsome. He was struggling to find his way as he approached adulthood. He left home and was living on the streets with his guitar and had a goal to make it to California, San Francisco. David was not an untethered person. He had people who wanted to take care of him. But David was following the beat of his own path and happened to be on a sidewalk that night, sleeping under the stars, something he liked to do.
Estrada has set up camp outside a bus stop nearby, and he sees a car slowly creeping up.
And someone drove up alongside him and shot him.
This is one thing on a level. It's almost as if the shooter was trying to get her to kill a person by shooting the horse.
Detective Ron Rock from the Tolleson Police Department came to the murder scene of David Estrada that night, and there was change. Sidewalk next to him, money. There was a nice quality guitar nearby. So he looked at this, that this isn't a robbery. This is not someone who came up to him and said, give me all your money or take all your valuables. So Ron Rock, to his credit, knew there was something distinct about this murder.
Well, it appears as though they drove up and offered him some change and then shot him in the face. But there's no indication or no clue as to why they did this.
Officers make a critical discovery. Bullet slugs from inside the victim. The slugs are sent to the police crime lab for further analysis.
And it was, devastating to come outside in the morning and find your horse bleeding or lying on the ground dead. But these seemed isolated because it didn't have anything to do with Phoenix. It seemed like a small town case. There was a Burger King that got shot out, a murder on a sidewalk somewhere that seemed puzzling, but no one was connecting the dots.
Police discovered that the .22 caliber bullet casings that were found at the scenes where the horses and dogs were shot came from the same gun responsible for the killing of David Estrada. A profile is beginning to emerge, but will it hold up?
Exotic dancer Georgia Thompson is walking through her apartment parking lot after a late-night shift. She hears someone behind and yells at them to leave her alone, but is shot dead at point-blank range with a .38 caliber handgun. Police are perplexed. Are these crimes connected? When they look at what's happening in the city, they realize that just a few weeks earlier, a sexual assault occurs in the same area.
They were walking home, forced these two young women behind some bushes, made them undress. One of the young women was visibly pregnant.
Then, a week later, there is another sexual assault, but this one combined with a robbery. Police question locals to see if anyone has seen or heard anything. But aside from Georgia's screams moments before her death, they have nothing to go on. They plead with citizens to provide any information that can lead to an arrest.
No one could have imagined that this is just the beginning.
3 men were found shot, 2 dead in downtown Phoenix.
In the wake of so many killings, the community was just on razor's edge.
If the citizens of Phoenix were scared before, they're absolutely terrified now.
Hi, my name is Damian Clark. If you have both Medicare and Medicaid, I have some really encouraging news that you'll definitely want to hear. Depending on the plans available in your area, you may be eligible to get extra benefits with the Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. Most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance, a monthly allowance to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items, like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. The Healthy Options Allowance is loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend carries over from each month. You can pay nothing for covered prescriptions all year long, even name brand drugs. All plans have $0 copays for covered preventive dental services, which include 2 free cleanings a year, as well as fillings. They may also have vision coverage, including vision exams, and a yearly allowance towards eyewear, such as lenses or contacts. Even hearing coverage, which includes routine hearing exams and coverage towards hearing aids. You'll even have a $0 copay for routine vaccines and telehealth visits. Plus, your doctor, hospital, and pharmacy may already be part of our large Humana networks. So call the number on your screen now to speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. If you're eligible, they can even help enroll you over the phone in a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. When you choose Humana, you'll find the benefits and support that our members have asked for, like a monthly allowance to help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items. Prescriptions where you could pay nothing. You could get $0 copays for covered preventive dental services, vision, even hearing coverage. And our large networks of doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies. So call the number on your screen now to speak with a licensed Humana sales agent to see if you qualify to enroll in a plan with extra benefits. Wouldn't you love benefits like a monthly allowance? To help pay for eligible groceries, utilities, rent, and over-the-counter items. Covered prescriptions where you can pay nothing all year long, even for the name brand ones. Just think of what benefits like these can do for your health and your life. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call the number on your screen now and speak with a licensed Humana sales agent. If you're eligible, they can even help enroll you over the phone in a Humana Medicare Advantage Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan. And remember, annual enrollment ends on December 7th. So call now. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
Whether you're a professional driver or just a fan, vehicle breakdowns are costly.
It started tugging.
It started making some really weird noises. The last thing I remember is just the engine cut out.
If your check engine light comes on tomorrow, the repair could easily cost thousands.
Is that transmission?
It's an exhaust leak.
Broken axle.
But with Endurance, you could never pay out of pocket for a costly repair again.
They covered a $14,000 engine replacement.
I had a seat sensor that went out, $1,400. Endurance paid it. We got a brand new transmission, and we never seen the repair bill.
Use any certified mechanic you want. Just bring your car in, and Endurance will pay them direct. All major parts are covered.
What I like about Endurance, they don't play games, there's no middleman. They're a solid company.
If I didn't have Endurance, I would have paid over $7,000 out of pocket to repair my vehicle.
Something is going to break down. Make Endurance pay for it.
With Endurance, your car repair costs go way down, while your car's life expectancy goes way up, allowing you to drive more and pay less.
One claim alone saved me more than $4,000.
I've had 5 claims, and that is $3,500 that I've kept in my pocket.
So, who's going to pay for your next car repair? You or Endurance?
Whether you put 10,000 or 100,000 miles a year on your car, if it's less than 20 years old, Endurance has you covered with unlimited miles. Plus, your plan covers 24/7 roadside assistance anywhere in the country. Call right now to get $300 off any plan, plus a full year of our top-tier elite benefits, a $2,000 value free. And all Endurance plans come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, but you have to act now. Call 1-833-496-5765 for a free quote. That's 1-833-496-5765.
The True Crime Network. Download the free app.
Disturbing crimes are happening around Phoenix, Arizona. Women have been sexually assaulted and one murdered, and several people have been shot, randomly targeted at night, along with several dogs and horses. Using ballistic evidence, police have discovered that the same gun is used in both the David Estrada murder and the animal killings. It appears they have a serial shooter on their hands. Over the next few weeks, more incidents occur. Sexual assaults and robberies are becoming commonplace. Shortly before 10 p.m., a dog named Shep is killed, and another named Irving is shot and wounded by a .22 caliber rifle within a few blocks of each other, just north of Camelback Road in Glendale.
One of the major differences between being able to compare a .22 caliber bullet casing from that of a shotgun, for example, a 410, is that a .22 caliber casing can be matched to the firearm that actually shot it. This is very difficult, almost impossible to do with a shotgun shell.
As the canine body count rises, so too does the human count.
Nathaniel Schaffner went to a convenience store one night. He walked over, and as he walked away from the convenience store, got a few blocks away, he came upon a scene where there was a car pulled over in a dark street, and there was a gun coming out of the window, and the barrel of this gun was pointing at a stray dog that was innocently capering about the scene, trying to find something to eat. Nathaniel came up to the car and, in an angry way, said a lot of things to stop them from shooting the dog. Don't shoot that dog. So what happened? The men in the car shot Nathaniel instead. Sometime later, an off-duty police officer was coming home from a social occasion with his wife late at night, and as he turns down the street, his headlights light up a man laying in the street with liquid all around him. He thinks what anyone would think. This is a man who's passed out, and that's beer. And he didn't have all his equipment with him, didn't have his uniform. He didn't feel like he was the right person to handle it, but he did call it in. Paramedics arrived, and they leaned over Nathaniel Schaffner, and they said, "Oh, this isn't beer, this is blood." So Nathaniel Schaffner died protecting a stray dog.
At 6 p.m., 39-year-old Tina Washington is attacked and killed.
Even by a veteran cop standards, it was a terrible scene.
A witness who manages to hide behind a steel door.
But the man, in his terror, was unable to give them a good description. That crime scene was very valuable to police because they found a shell casing. But the savvy detectives there at the scene noticed that she seemed to have no jewelry. Turns out that Tina Washington had what was called a mother's ring. That was gone. One of the sons told police that that was missing.
Police wondered if these killings might be connected, changing weapons for different scenarios. For example, using a handgun when he's on foot, or when he's in his car using a rifle or a shotgun. But this all changes on December 29th, 2005.
At 7 p.m., the shooting starts. First, it's a bartending school, but no one is hurt. Then, at 10:10 p.m., a dog is killed while being walked by its owner at a park. 20 minutes later, Jose Ortiz is killed on North 10th Avenue in Phoenix, and Marco Carrillo is shot and killed 1 block away. At 11:39 p.m., Timothy Torde is shot in the neck and wounded nearby. Shortly after midnight, 2 dogs are shot and killed on East Granada. A German Shepherd is also killed on North 32nd Street. At 2:15 a.m., an off-duty Marine is shot and wounded.
I think you could say the official start of the serial shooter case was December 29th, 2005. This is when 3 men were found shot to dead in downtown Phoenix, and the detective working that case the next morning got a call from a detective from a tiny little police department in a tiny little town adjacent to Phoenix who said, "You know, I have an unsolved case from earlier in the year. This sounds an awful lot like your case last night.
Overwhelmed with bodies and ballistics, detectives soon make a startling discovery. All of the victims of the drive-by rifle shootings are males and animals, and all their handgun victims are female.
This changes everything. It's definitely a breakthrough in their investigation.
Could there be two active serial killers on the loose, both operating at the same time?
We were hearing police say serial killer, not serial killer. Oh, it's a rapist, it's this, it's that. We didn't know what was going on. If you were just a regular person not privy to everything that was happening inside the police department, you didn't know what was going on. All you knew is that you were frightened.
If the citizens of Phoenix were scared before, they're absolutely terrified now. Anything and anyone can be easy.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm just tired. They changed my Medicare Advantage plan, so I've been trying to find a new one, and it's so much work.
Don't do it yourself. Call GoHealth.
GoHealth.
Yeah, GoHealth. They take your information, they do the research, they compare plans, then they recommend the plan that best meets your needs.
Really?
GoHealth found me a plan with prescription drug coverage, vision care, dental care, preventative care services, plus extra benefits that cost me less than my old plan.
That sounds perfect.
And the service is free.
Here's how we've helped over 10 million Americans shop for the Medicare plan that's right for them. First, we listen to learn what your needs and priorities are. Then, using our proprietary PlanFit technology, we compare your needs to the features and benefits of some of the top Medicare carriers in America, like Cigna Healthcare, Humana, United Healthcare, and WellCare, to find the best plan for you and your budget. Whether you're looking for a plan with prescription drug coverage, vision care, dental care, hearing care, and more, GoHealth will find the plan that's right for you at a price you can afford.
I'm calling.
If you're trying to get the most bang for your buck, looking for a new plan, or new to Medicare, GoHealth can help. The call is free. Our service is free. There's no risk and no obligation. Get the right Medicare Advantage plan for you at a price you can afford.
Call 800-813-7317 or go to GoHealth.com now. That's 800-813-7317 or go to GoHealth.com now. Don't do it yourself. Call GoHealth.
I'm happy. I am happy to have gold. I have gold as a hedge against inflation. I know that this is the only thing that represents real money. I've had a portfolio of course, stocks, but no one ever talked about gold as part of your portfolio. To make a long story short, I end up buying gold for the first time. And boy, was I excited. What I like about owning physical gold is that I'm in control of my money. No one else has his hands on it, but I can put my hands right on it right now. If I need it right away, it's there.
If you would like to learn more about why physical gold should be an important part of your portfolio, simply call to receive the complete guide to buying gold, filled with new and exclusive information, including facts you should know about making any gold, silver, platinum, or palladium purchase. Call now to also receive our new 2024 Global Gold Forecast Special Report. Inside, you'll find the real issues on why you need to start owning gold today. You can also receive a copy of our new report, Protection in the Risk Zone. U.S. Money Reserve can walk you through the 3 simple steps of transferring your existing 401k or IRA into a precious metals IRA backed by physical gold to further protect your assets from market instability. Pick up the phone and call U.S. Money Reserve, America's gold authority, right now to get your free gold kit and IRA information, including the 3 simple steps for transferring your existing 401k, 403b, and traditional IRA.
With 2 decades in business, over $1 billion in transactions, and more than 500,000 clients worldwide, U.S. Money Reserve is one of the most dependable gold distributors in America.
Hello, I'm Veronica.
My name is Darvin.
I'm Courtney,
I'm Jackie.
and we switched to Consumer Cellular.
My previous provider was terrible.
Surprise, we changed your rate.
We wouldn't get to talk to a person.
And then all of a sudden it disconnects.
Now with Consumer Cellular, no problems.
Better customer service. They tell me exactly what I'm paying and why I'm paying for it.
It's within $1 of being half of my old bill.
I was paying $145 a month for one line. Now I pay $55 a month for 2 lines. Okay, this is doable. This is affordable.
I'm getting the exact same coverage for half the price. That's a beautiful thing. Done deal.
I got to keep my phone. I got to keep my number. Switching over took about 20 minutes. That's it.
It's month to month, very simple.
It's been amazing. I was now a Consumer Cellular customer.
And I've been bragging to my friends about it too.
Call 1-800-456-2541. To switch and save up to half with Consumer Cellular, use code SAVE50 to save an extra $50.
Coming up next on True Crime Network.
Starting in early summer of 2005, a reign of terror has been waged over the residents of metropolitan Phoenix, Arizona. On the fateful night of December 29th, 2005, a rampage leaves 2 men dead, along with several other dogs and a wounded ex-Marine. All shot with either a .22 caliber rifle or a .410 shotgun from a passing vehicle. While these instances occur in a similar pattern, at the same time, a serial predator is haunting the areas around Baseline Road. These crimes are done on foot, using a handgun. With already 7 instances, including robbery, rape, and murder, the profiles of the separate instances indicate their worst fears. 2 separate serial killers are at work in Arizona.
Now the police are dealing with what are believed to be 2 active serial killers. They need to work around the clock to try to catch them. They decided to break the unit into 2 groups. One dedicated to catching who they called the serial shooter. The other group was dedicated to catching who they called the baseline rapist. The baseline rapist came to be known as the baseline killer because the victims were killed in the area of Baseline Road.
Authorities discover evidence that could further the Baseline killer case.
It's a gunshot fired off by the rapist to scare away onlookers that conclusively ties the assaults and robberies to the murders. Police are able to match the casings to the .38.
The rapist murderer was doing everything in his power to prevent any DNA evidence from showing up at his crime scenes, from attempting to use condoms to making the victims rub their saliva with dirt and then rubbing it over their own bodies to basically pollute any DNA that he may have left on them.
But for as carefully as he tries to cover his tracks, the Baseline killer soon slips up. Detectives are able to recover DNA evidence from one of the previous sexual assaults. Now they have a lead. But as much as detectives learn over the course of their investigation, in 2006, his pace of assaults picks up. 18 separate attacks take place, which are all attributed to the Baseline killer. That number rises to 23 over the next several months.
February 2006 proved to be a very bloody and terrible time. 2 women, hardworking women working in a food truck, Romelia Vargas and Myrna Palma Roman. These 2 women were found brutally murdered early one morning inside their food truck. And then March comes along, and another one of those headline-grabbing, gut-punching stories. You had 2 young workers at a Yoshi's restaurant, George Chow and Lilian Sanchez. They were closing down. These 2 young people murdered by what was now identified, and police were looking for the serial rapist and murderer. And shortly after that, a woman named Sofia Nunez was found dead in her bathtub, found by her young son, who was worried about his mom when she didn't come to school to pick him up.
The community is at wit's end, dealing with seemingly weekly events of new deaths and assaults. Authorities make pleas to the public to come forward if they know anyone or anything that could lead them to the killers.
The officers in the community feel helpless because the people that they're sworn to protect are being targeted. All they can do at this point is hope that they collect enough evidence fast enough to bring the case to a conclusion.
Meanwhile, the so-called serial shooter hasn't struck since that fateful December 29, 2005 night. And police still haven't been able to get a description of the shooter's car. It could be anyone. The summer of fear starts when Claudia Gutierrez Cruz is shot and killed on May 2nd with a shotgun.
She'd gone in for an extra shift as a glass stacker at a restaurant in Scottsdale because she thought they might need extra help because there had been sort of a strike that night. And they said, you know what, I think we got it covered, you can go. And she came home on the bus, but the connecting bus, it was too late. So she had to walk where the further bus left her off, all the way to her apartment. And she died.
That same night, 17-year-old Kabili Tambadu is shot and wounded.
He had been sent to the store that night to pick up some milk at the convenience store. So that's why he was on the sidewalk that night. And he was shot in the back. And the 17-year-old boy who's made it all the way to America from a very troubled, traumatic background from a war-torn country in Africa, Sierra Leone, staggers from the sidewalk through the bushes into the marble floors of a hotel and drips blood with him across their marble floors and asks for help.
Over the next 2 months, the carnage holds the city hostage. During this shooting spree, 2 Walmarts are set ablaze. Adding to the general carnage that Phoenix residents are dealing with, little do police know that these fires will be key later.
It was really scary living in the Phoenix area at that time because you had 2 serial killers working at the same time. I personally am unaware of that happening, at least not commonly anywhere before. Employers were putting up flyers, do not go to your car alone. People stopped jogging, all of this, because it was just too frightening. And, you know, with good reason. People were dying and being maimed and traumatized. It was horrifying.
Detectives set up the tip line in the hopes of gaining vital information that will help them capture the serial shooter. And they get no shortage of calls, straining their resources as they try to make sense of all the leads. And just when people start thinking it can't get any worse, it does. The baseline killer strikes again, but this time for all to see.
Then along comes June 29th, summer of 2006. A young woman named Carmen Miranda is washing her car. Not only do they get their first sort of look at this guy, they get their eyes on the body of this guy. And as shocking as anything was just the violence and the speed of the attack. It visually confirmed what all of these other crime scenes had told police, that this was really just a ferocious, scary predator. Because he set upon this woman with such speed and such force, threw her into the car, drove her off, sexually assaulted her, killed her. Her body found a short time later. In the wake of so many killings at this point, the community was just on razor's edge.
But authorities won't have time to rest. Another killer is on the loose. And July 1st, he strikes again. This time wounding Diane Bien and Jeremy Ortiz in 2 separate instances that night. With so many shootings, how can there be no witnesses?
One of the most effective things about the serial shooter's style of mayhem was they took people from behind and people who weren't expecting to be assaulted. And this is why they have very little witness testimony, because people are just walking down the street and they get shot from behind and they never see what happened.
27-year-old Ashley Armenta is walking down the street when the assault happens.
When Ashley came into the hospital that night and they picked out the pellets from her scalp, and police interviewed her, Ashley knew a lot about cars in general. She knew all about the model, make, year, everything. So she had a good idea of what the car was.
a light blue 1998 Toyota Camry. Despite other victims' descriptions, Ashley's is the first definitive answer to make and model of the vehicle.
One thing that was difficult for police is that when they did get a description of the car, people reported different colors. The paint on that particular car showed different in different light. It had different mixtures of paint in it, and different ones, purple, blue, gray, showed up in different light. So that explained why the colors seemed different to different people.
Then, just a few days later, more carnage on the 12th of July when Raul Lopez Garcia is shot while riding his bike in Mesa. Just when they could use a break in the serial shooter's case, a lead comes in. A phone call that will change the course of the investigation.
You'll find them in cities, towns, and suburbs all across America. Millions of Americans who have Medicare and Medicaid, but may be missing benefits they could really use. Extra benefits they may be eligible to receive at no extra cost. And if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be able to get extra benefits too through a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan. Call now to see if there's a plan in your area and to see if you qualify. With the Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan, you could have doctor, hospital, and prescription drug coverage in one convenient plan. Plus, most plans include the Humana Healthy Options Allowance, your allowance to help pay for essentials like eligible groceries, utilities, and rent, even over-the-counter items like vitamins, pain relievers, first aid supplies, and more. Your allowance is conveniently loaded onto a prepaid card each month, and whatever you don't spend gets carried over to the next month. Plus, with the Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan, you could get other important benefits. Most plans include dental coverage with $0 copays for covered preventive services, vision coverage, including eye exams, and a yearly allowance for eyeglasses or contact lenses, even hearing benefits with routine hearing exams and coverage toward hearing aids. And you could pay nothing for covered prescriptions, even brand name ones, all year long. You'll also get $0 copays for routine vaccines at in-network retail pharmacies and $0 copays for telehealth visits. Best of all, if you have Medicare and Medicaid, you may be eligible to enroll in a Humana Medicare Advantage dual eligible special needs plan right now. So call now to see if there's a plan in your area and to see if you qualify. Imagine one convenient plan with doctor, hospital, and prescription drug coverage that may include extra benefits, like the Humana Healthy Options Allowance, to help pay for eligible essentials like groceries, utilities, rent, over-the-counter items, and more. There could be no cost for covered prescriptions and coverage for routine dental, vision, even hearing, plus $0 copays for routine vaccines and telehealth visits. And you'll have access to Humana's multiple large plan networks of doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies. So if you have Medicare and Medicaid, call now to see if there's a plan in your area that could give you extra benefits, including a monthly allowance to help pay for eligible essentials. Plus, there could be no cost for covered prescriptions and coverage for routine dental, vision, even hearing. So call now and let a knowledgeable licensed Humana sales agent explain your coverage options and, if you're eligible, help you enroll over the phone. It's that easy. Call today and we'll also send this free guide. But now is the time. The annual enrollment period ends December 7th. Humana, a more human way to healthcare.
They were gunned down.
This is a Stone Cold Killer.
Now, determined detectives will have to trace the ballistics to track down their shooter.
We are all hands on deck.
Targeted for murder. Next on True Crime Network.
There are two active serial killers on the loose in Phoenix, Arizona. The serial shooter shoots unsuspecting pedestrians and cyclists, while the baseline killer commits rapes and murders, centering his attacks largely on and around Baseline Road.
The crimes that were committed by the serial shooter were very senseless. You couldn't put a motive to it. Who was going to shoot someone's dog at the end of the leash that they're walking? Who's going to shoot a horse in someone's backyard? Who's going to shoot a guy sitting on a bus bench? Who's going to shoot a guy trying to protect a dog? These are senseless. A rape case is very specific. The motivation is obvious.
The serial shooter victims have all been shot with a 22 caliber rifle or a 410 or 12 gauge shotgun from a moving vehicle identified as the late 90s Camry. The baseline killer uses a handgun.
With video evidence recovered from the previous attack of the baseline killer, police are able to release a composite sketch to the public. He appears in the video to be an African-American male.
The informant that really broke the case of the serial shooter was a man named Ron Horton. And Ron Horton was an old drinking buddy with Sam Deaton.
Sam was from the Midwest. He was from Minnesota, where he grew up, and his mother at times had come out here to Phoenix. As an adult, he became a union electrician, so he could work a good job, but he had trouble with his temper and his reliability, so he lost his union job. Ron Horton wasn't the kind of guy who watched news or read newspapers, so he wasn't really aware very much of the whole serial shooter crisis in the area. But one night, he was at a bar with his friend Sam, and Sam said the strangest thing to him. He said, "Have you ever killed a man?"
Sammy apparently was one of those kind of guys when he got a belly full of beer, he shot his mouth off too much, and apparently had boasted to Ron that he had shot people.
Ron says, "No, what are you talking about?" And he noted this and thought this was really odd. Later, he did become aware of the serial shooter case, and in fact, a picture of Sam was circulated on the news from the Walmart fire. In June of 2006 was a bad month and a particularly bad night. There was a Walmart that was set on fire in the west side of the valley. One thing about Walmart is it has really good asset management, really good security. So they have cameras all throughout their stores. So the night of those two fires, they had people reviewing the video from every single camera, and they were able to determine that two guys probably set both fires, and they were able to take stills from the video, supply those to the police, which had them circulated on media. So now we had a picture of two guys with a distinctive tattoo and a distinctive t-shirt circulating for people to possibly recognize them. And Ron was fearful that maybe Sam was the guy in the picture, but he was divided because in his social circle, you don't snitch. And he felt really bad about maybe getting Sam into some trouble for no reason.
Ron didn't immediately act on this, and I think as he would say himself, to his great regret. But in short order, after Ron had been told by Sam of the killings, a young woman named Robin Blasnick ends up being shot and killed in Mesa, Arizona. All earmarks of the serial shooter.
Robin Blasnick was killed on the last day of July, and it was a fever pitch. I think everyone really felt electrified by Robin because she was such a vulnerable young girl that everyone felt like she was their daughter, their sister, and we thought, we can't take any more of this.
Ron Horton hears about the killing of Robin Blasnick. He thinks about his friend Sam Deaton talking about going around killing people. At that point, Ron Horton calls police and says, "I think my friend Sam Deaton had something to do with this." Police then ask Horton to set up